let me start with the introduction of the organization first, before we come to the speakers. Canada-India-USA Development Forum, or CIUDF, is an Ontario, Canada-based not-for-profit organization working to promote bilateral and trilateral relations between Canada, India, and USA. CIUDF organizes events, conferences, and speaker series lectures with prominent corporate and political leaders in all three countries for ideas exchange and knowledge sharing. The forum recently opened up for memberships, and 19, actually it's now 20 companies or professionals have joined as members, with the goal to raise the membership to 300 or more by December next year. CIUDF also hosts virtual member meetings, and once the pandemic measures are eased, we will be hosting monthly brunch meetings for members and sponsors. So I am the founder president of and CEO of Canada India USA Development Forum. It is also supported by Impact Media and Events Corporation. Okay, next slide, please. These are some of the activities that we do. An annual Canada-India Insight Conference, annual Canada-India-USA Trilateral Conference as well. We also do several business leaders roundtables as well as political leaders roundtables. Membership expansion, which I just mentioned. A lot of member networking events as well, mostly virtual right now, and hopefully in person soon. We have also started the Consul General Roundtable, and we'll be hosting the second one shortly. Education Forum, as we are doing right now, this is the second session. The first one was done last month. In July and August, we'll take a 2-month break for the Education Forum, and then we'll restart in September. We are also running a health forum, actually, as well, on pandemic and other related issues. There's also a publication, an online publication that we have, Canada India Insight e-paper. And apart from all this, we also do several webinars and virtual sessions on current affairs, issues of importance, like the one we did on Keystone and several others. So these events are done, as I said, in partnership with Impact Media and Events Corporation, our media and events company. Next slide, Aga. This forum, Education Forum, is supported by, actually we are thankful to these sponsors because of whom we are able to do this. Schoolio, One Place, IMEC, as well as the Consulate General of India for supporting the Education Forum. So with that, let us go to the keynote speaker for today, Apoorva Srivastava ji. Apoorva ji is the India's Consul General to Toronto. She is a career diplomat, having joined the Indian Foreign Service in 2001. Prior to being appointed as India's Consul General in Toronto, she worked with the Minister of External Affairs from January 17 to August 2019. In her 19-year diplomatic career, she has served twice in the Indian Embassy in Paris from August 2003 to October 2006, and again from August 2012 to July 2015, and in the Indian Embassy in Kathmandu from June 9 to August 12. In the headquarters, she has served as Undersecretary SARC and as Director Administration. Consul General Ms. Srivastava holds a Master's in Psychology from Lucknow University. She speaks Hindi, English, and French. She is married to Mr. Anshuman Gaur, a career diplomat. They have 2 daughters. With that, please welcome our keynote speaker for today, Apoorva Srivastava ji.
Namaskar and a very good morning to everyone joining from Canada, and good evening to those joining from India. Thank you, Vipul ji, for the introduction, and the Impact Media team, and for organizing this great forum. I think this is very timely because it will help the prospective students from India in making the right choices towards building and progressing career in Canada. It's so happy to see, to be among such an eminent panel of speakers. And I think I'm the least qualified to speak in this webinar. But I'm sure that their recommendation and inputs will, with regard to choice for institution of post-secondary education in Canada, will be useful to both students as well as their parents as they take very important and very crucial decisions. We are all parents and we know that choosing a university is such a crucial decision for children regarding the higher education in Canada. We know India and Canada are strategic partners, and cooperation in education is a very important element of this partnership. Canadian universities and colleges are well known in India for imparting world-class education. And due to this reason, a large number of Indian students are attracted to Canada for pursuing higher education. We also have a large presence of researchers, scholars, and academicians of Indian heritage in Canadian universities and colleges all across Canada, which form a strong bridge of friendship between our two countries. India has been a top source of foreign students for Canadian universities and colleges for some years now. With more than 230,000 Indian students studying in Canada, India is today the largest source of human capital to Canada. And I'm sure most of these students will stay in Canada and contribute to the growth and development of the local economy. If we look at India-Canada educational partnership, it has witnessed several remarkable achievements in recent past. We have a joint working group on higher education, the second meeting of which was held in 2019, where both sides resolved to deepen the bilateral relations in education sector. Over the years, we also have 300 MOUs that were signed between institutions of higher learning in India and Canadian educational institutions, universities. Of course, we have the Indo-Canadian the Shastri Institute. Considering the huge influx of Indian students to Canadian universities and college in recent years, it has also been decided to set up a mechanism involving various stakeholders to take care of possible issues which may crop up. If we look at the Indian system of education, in recent times we have witnessed some significant developments in India which aim to transform the education sector. In July last year, Government of India unveiled new education policy 2020 to bring about sweeping reforms in schools and higher education, which is extremely important for developing the creative potential of each individual. The policy proposes revision and revamping of all aspects of education to focus on principles that education must develop both the foundational capacities of literacy and numeracy as well as cognitive capacities such as critical thinking and problem solving. It also gives an opportunity for the Canadian universities to the top Canadian university to set up a campus in India, and we'll be very happy to facilitate. We are still making the corresponding legislation to actually implement it, but we'll be very happy to discuss with universities on how to go about it. The NEP, the new education policy, also gave critical importance to digital learning, and we have developed some portals like Diksha and National Digital Infrastructure for Teachers Swayam that will help a repository for all teaching resources on single platform. And we are looking at partnership with international universities on these platforms as well. And we'll be very happy to facilitate any interaction with Indian universities on that account. The international education is an essential pillar of Canada's competitiveness, and Indian students who study in Canada are exposed to new ideas, which stimulates innovation and development of cross-cultural competencies. As India's growth trajectory rebounds from the pandemic-induced slowdown to a recovery path, and as India's middle class start to spend more on educational needs, including by seeking international education, the interest of Indian students in Canada is expected to further grow. It is therefore very important that students receive proper information and guidance as they make this crucial decision about universities and college education. While personal interest may be a major factor in deciding about the subject that our students want to study, deciding about university and college in Canada can be a very challenging task because with so many opportunities are available. I think the webinar like the one we are having today are of special importance as the parents in India, as we are going to, as students and parents are going to make these crucial decisions. I'm sure this webinar will address the concerns of parents as well as students and guide them in making right choices for the post-secondary studies in Canada. Before concluding, I would like to convey my heartiest congratulations to universities in Canada that have made it to 18th edition of World's University Ranking earlier this month. I'm also happy to share that some prominent Indian academic institutions like IIT Mumbai, IIT Delhi, and IISc Bangalore have also made an entry to this edition as the top ranking educational institutions of this world. I would also like to take this opportunity to request all the Indian international students to register themselves with the consulate. We would be very happy to provide you all the assistance and support as you settle down in Canada. The consulate is your home away from home, and we'll always want you to register with us and discuss your issues with us. Feel free to reach out for any assistance. I would also like to request all the universities, if they need any kind of facilitation in India, we are there. We are there to help and facilitate and guide you for forging new partnership in India. With these words, let me thank you once again for inviting me, and my best wishes for a great session. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, Apoorva for joining us again today and for addressing the forum. I believe you are going to be with us today for the entire session, right?
Yeah, till some, yeah. I will like to listen something.
Sure, yeah, because this time we want to ask you a couple of questions as well. So maybe we can do it now or at the end as you wish. Later? Okay, sure. So Nagasarath, let us move on to the next speaker. Next slide, please. And you can introduce. Nagasarath is also a member of the forum and a member of our education committee as well, and is a great help in terms of all this technical stuff.
Thank you so much, Vipulbhai.
Sure.
Thank you so much. And it's my pleasure to invite and introduce Brock Tychmann. Brock Tychmann was named president of University of Canada West in January 2019. Prior to that, he was VP academic since September 2016. He started his university career at Thompson Rivers University, where he taught accounting, was BBA program coordinator, international liaison for School of Business and Economics, and interim dean of School of Business and Economics. At Vancouver Island University, he was MBA program director and interim dean of Faculty of Management and the Faculty of International Education. Brock Dykman's career has dedicated to bringing quality business education to underserved populations with a strong emphasis on international education. He has traveled on university business to many countries, and he has managed international partnership programs in China and India and the UK. It's a pleasure, Brock. Please take over.
Thank you. Good morning. Namaskar. I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, so out on the west coast of Canada at University Canada West. It's a great pleasure to take part in this event, and it's a wonderful initiative to bring together academics and industry people from India, Canada, and United States. Today's topic, college or university, what is right for you? The topic heading kind of has the answer hidden inside it, because what is right for you implies that it's not the same answer for every potential student. And that would certainly be my first response. Each student is different and their needs are different. So it does require you to do some self-analysis about yourself, your educational background, your skills, your knowledge, and then what do you want? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to end up? You need to really have a good understanding of these things. And of course, being Indian students, your parents have to have a good understanding of these things so that you make the right choice as to where you go. There, and both, I'm at a university, but I'm not going to give the colleges a hard time because they provide many valuable programs, and many successful graduates in Canada come from India through the college system. And I think either way is good, but there's different paths are you need to consider the different paths and choose the one that works for you. One of the main things is around skills and what kind of skills you want. I mean, colleges, of course, are famous for developing your skills, especially in applied skills in the field that you're studying in. Many students do need that skill development. Many employers are looking for applied skills. They want graduates who can hit the ground running, as we say. They can start working right away. They don't need to be retrained by the employer once they start. And this is the strength of colleges, right? Traditionally, that their graduates can hit the ground running. They're ready to go, ready to start. I'd say at some universities, we've been trying to eat into that advantage by being more applied ourselves. And at University of Canada West, we consider ourselves an applied university. So we do try and build practical skills in our programs that other universities might not. And I think many universities are trending this way, but certainly here in British Columbia, the government made a whole class of universities that specialize in having more applied skills. That said, traditionally universities, of course, are really good, really focused on research and writing as the prime skills, which are backed up by critical thinking skills as the prime skills that you learn during the university. These skills are the ones that are lifelong learning skills that will provide you the ability to grow and develop over your career. So university programs tend to have a bit of a longer time horizon for the skills that they provide. They're not as short-term, and sometimes, to be honest, university graduates are not as job ready as college graduates, right? They may need a little more training in that specific field and area and the tools that are used, whereas the college graduates usually have training in the tools already. As I say, at University of Canada West, we're trying to bridge that gap and give the students the tools and use of the tools at the university itself. The other kind of side of it, and this side is difficult to assess, if you're back in India trying to decide, about careers in Canada, it's hard, there's an information gap there. For example, because different industries have different approaches to hiring, for example. So the tech industry loves college grads because they want the skills. They're very skill oriented. They're looking at the skills. Now, if a university grad has the right skills, they're happy, but they're not as credential oriented as some industries. So I would say, for example, the opposite end, I would say, is banking. In my experience, the banking industry is very credential oriented. If you have an MBA or master's in finance, then they're really happy to hire you based on that credential and the presumed skills and knowledge that come with that credential. So it kind of depends to some extent on which industry you're heading to, whether you'll find that they're very credential oriented or whether they're skills oriented. So there is that kind of variation in industries. So it does make it difficult to prejudge coming from India. Now, one of the advantages in Canada is often you can ladder from one program to another. And so if you do come to Canada, do a college diploma or a college postbachelorate diploma, or certificate, you may then be able to ladder that into a subsequent program if you decide that you later on need the credential, the university credential. If you need the bachelor's degree or the master's degree, there's often opportunities to use some of your previous academic credits in the next diploma or degree. So all is not lost. I would not say, there's never really a wrong choice. As someone who's, done various degrees and diplomas in their life, I learned something from them all, and they all helped me in the end, right? So I would say, while it is an important choice, it's not, it's not the end of the world if you come and you start something, you think, oh, maybe this wasn't the right thing for me. Persevere, get the credential, and move on, get a job for a while, get some work experience, maybe understand Canada a bit better, and then go back to university. And I've seen that a trend as well. Students come, they get a shorter credential, then they work for Canada a while, get their PR, and then they come back at the reduced fees to get a bachelor's or a master's degree and take advantage of the Canadian fees. So I say it's an important decision, but it's not it's not the end of the world if you don't make a perfect decision at that stage. And Canada is fairly flexible that way, I would say, in general. Employers really look to the person and the person's skills and how they present themselves and how they're able to use those skills. And so the job interview is critically important in Canada. So no matter what your background, your resume, you show that you have the skills appropriate for that position. And then in the interview, you show that you can actually understand the industry and that you know how to use those skills. So all that's important. So I'm saying, do some homework, understand yourself, think about what's likely to work for you, but there's lots of good choices out there. Okay, and I think I'll leave that as my comments. Thank you very much, Vipul, for this chance to talk to everybody.
Sure. Thank you for wonderful remarks, Mr. Dykeman. Actually, although the topic says college or university, I mean, you already addressed one of the questions that I was going to ask later on. I've heard a lot of students actually going to a college first and then end up in university, or going to a university first and then also going to a college afterwards to pick up the other,
Works both ways,
yeah, revenue generating skills, that they learn at colleges. So we'll address that a little bit later on. And just to say one more thing before we go to the next speaker. Today, actually, the event is trilateral. It's Canada, India, and US. All three are participating. We have a speaker from Ferris State University, Mr. Piram Prakasam from Michigan. So as the organization is forum as well. So Nagasarath, next slide, please. And Suchit, our member of the forum, member of the education committee as well, and associate professor at Concordia University. If you can introduce Mr. Sharma.
Sure, thank you, Vipul bhai. It's a pleasure to introduce Harry Sharma to the forum. He's a director at the Innovation Hub, Carleton University in Ottawa. Harry Sharma leads the Innovation Hub at Carleton and is accountable for designing, delivering, and supporting programming for student-led ventures at the university. For over 15 years, Harry has contributed to strengthening Canada's innovation ecosystem, including spearheading the development of a new innovation framework and an index to analyze the impact of automation technologies. In his previous roles, Harry has led the development and deployment of corporate performance frameworks, strategic plans, acceleration programs for Canadian startups, and socioeconomic impact initiatives. Harry has a bachelor's degree in computer engineering from Rochester Institute of Technology and a master's in engineering management from University of Ottawa. And I also want to add that one of the most innovative programs that he ran at Carleton, or is maybe still running, he'll probably provide us clarity on that, was where he was bringing students in from innovation hubs in India to the Carleton hub and sending Canadian students to India from the Carleton hub to work in incubators in India. So that was one of the most innovative programs that I have seen that has an international impact. So Harry, with great pleasure, welcome, and we look forward to your comments. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suchit, for such a wonderful introduction. And thank you, Vipul, for inviting and for hosting such a much needed forum. I think the trilateral nature of it. Thank you, Consul General Srivastava, for providing the keynote comments and your wonderful insights on the partnership. And thank you to all my fellow speakers for coming and providing your insights on what can be done. As you probably saw from my introduction, I come at it from a slightly different perspective than Brock provided. I think the story of the India, Canada, US education journey together is well known, well understood. I think the number of students who are now traveling from India to Canada and the US, I think is well established, and I'm not sure anybody needs to be more convinced that partnership is going strong, and it will only get stronger. What I want to do though is I do want to address the possibilities and the potential that I see on the research and innovation side of this very important trilateral partnership. I think one of the emerging stories out of India that I'm really proud of is the startup ecosystem and the innovative approaches that Indian students and student-led ventures are taking. And I think we need to be very, very cognizant of that. I think we need to design approaches, trilateral programs that would further enhance that. And I'll tell you why. The reason is not because I don't see merit in bringing students over to Canada and the US. I think that's a very, very foundational element of the partnership. However, what ends up happening, and I think both Brock and Consul General addressed it, those students, they do end up staying in Canada and the US. And that's absolutely expected, nothing wrong with that. What I want to see is a more bilateral exchange where we're learning what each country has to offer, and then we're applying those lessons and those opportunities in our respective countries. And that's kind of that was the genesis of the idea that Suchit was referring to. So let me tell you a bit more about Carleton University and a couple of roles that I've held at the university, and why I'm so proud of the work that we're doing at the university. So we're based in Ottawa, roughly 32,000 students, roughly $95 million annually in research. So, a fairly mid-sized, comprehensive Canadian university. We do have a dedicated Canada-India Center for Excellence. I had the pleasure of leading that center for almost 4 years, from 2015 to 2019. And that was one of the things we were trying to do with the Center for Excellence there was to initiate new programming that would add to the already burgeoning relationship with the students coming to Canada. We wanted to introduce shorter term programs that would allow Indian students to actually come, experience the Canadian education system for about 4 weeks or so, and then they would go back. The idea was not for them to come and stay here. I know many want to, but there are many, many, many more who actually do want to go back to India and contribute to India's growth trajectory. And our program was for that. We allowed that to happen. And when I left in 2019, we had almost 500 students a year coming through our programs. The other thing I initiated was the Canada-India Accelerator Program. And that one revolves more around Indian entrepreneurs. This was a partnership with the AICTE in India, All India Council for Technical Education, and Carleton University's Canada India Center for Excellence. And the idea was that we would work with AICTE. They would hold national level competitions for student-led ventures all over India in key emerging technology areas. So the idea was, let's identify what India's needs are going to be from a knowledge-based economy perspective. Key technologies, so cybersecurity, data analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. Those were the types of student-led ventures that were coming to us through the program. We would bring them here because they need to build partnerships. They need to build, market awareness about the opportunities that are available to them in North America. And then we did it the other way around too. So we ran our own competition here in Canada. We selected 20 to 25 companies a year, again, in emerging technology areas. We would give them, a week-long scale camp, as we called it, provide them context on the Indian market, some of the key cultural differences. And then we had partnerships with incubators and accelerators in India, based in Indian universities, many of them associated with the AICTE. And we would fully sponsor these companies to go to India from anywhere between 3 weeks to 3 months. And they got to work in the Indian market. They got to partner with, the innovation ecosystem players there. And then the idea was, if they secured customers in India or partners, then when they came back, we actually had a group of investors that we had set up. So investors who wanted to be part of India's growth story, they would actually evaluate these companies, see the types of progress they had made, and they would invest in these companies. So the idea was we would then, and we do, it turned out to be more than just an idea. The program is still very much ongoing, is supported by the federal government here in Canada. As I said, the ICT is on board. So that's how we enabled two-way bilateral partnership, which I think fundamentally and in the long term is stronger, because now you're collaborating as equals, you're collaborating at the knowledge creation, knowledge deployment level, and those bring benefits to both countries. So I think that's part of the story, this part of the story of the India-Canada-US relationship that I think needs further attention. Vipul, I'm not sure if the audience today includes innovators and others who might find this part of the story more appealing. But I would say, if you're a parent and you want your children to be, entrepreneurs or participate in the innovation story of the three countries, then you should really look at the opportunities that are emerging from the research and innovation space in the three countries. And so, yeah, would love to take any other questions that the audience may have on our initiatives. With that, back to you, Vipul. Thanks.
Thank you for those very wonderful remarks. Very actually, in terms of the audience, how it works is, what I have noticed is, instead of the live conferences, I mean, this is an ideas exchange primarily. In terms of the audience, once we complete the session, we do our own editing on it, and then when we post it on YouTube and everything, afterwards, the views nowadays for most of our sessions now, they reach about anywhere between 15 to 20,000 views. So that's where you get most of the views afterwards, rather than during the live events. Either way, I mean, the purpose is to reach to as many people as we can. So that you have already answered one of my question in detail. So I will have to come up with some new questions for you. Anyway, thank you for that. Nagasar, let us move on to the next speaker. After all the speaker remarks, we'll move into a Q&A. And I have got two questions for each speaker. Next slide, Nakasa. Okay, and it's again back to you to introduce Nagar.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. And again, it's a pleasure to introduce Dr. Piram Prakasam, Executive Director, International Education, Ferris State University, Michigan, USA. As Vipul Bhai has mentioned, his presence make this forum a forum right now. And let me take the pleasure to introduce him. Dr. Piram Prakasam serves as the Executive Director for International Education at Ferris State University, Michigan, USA. He is also a professor of chemistry, and he is the graduate of University of Madras, India, with a master's in polymer science and holds a PhD in chemistry from Temple University, USA. Ferris State University is a regional public university in Michigan. Ferris State offers more than 180 undergraduate and graduate degree programs. The university has served students from around the world since 1887 and prides itself for offering industry-relevant education. Again, it's a pleasure for me to invite Dr. Piram Prakasam. Dr. Piram, please go ahead. I think you have a presentation to share.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us, inviting Ferris State and myself to join this trilateral webinar series. And the topic for today is the college or university, what is right for you? Since we have students attending from India, interested both looking at US and Canada, I wanted to kind of take the time to talk about the number of institutions we have and the opportunity specifically looking at the United States. So recently there was a survey that was conducted and looking at the attractiveness of universities around the world. And it was conducted in India, and more than 220, 225 students participated in it. And 40% of them consider the US as their dream destination. So the US continues to be a leader in attracting international students. And one of the primary reasons the student mentioned, 60% of them considered the quality of education offered in US institution is superior. And so that's why they're very attracted to US institutions. But once one decides to look at US institutions, there is a very diverse variety of institutions that are here in the US. And the topic for today is very apt in that context. With 5,000 institutions in the US, which ones would you choose? Would you choose colleges that offers primarily bachelor's degree, or universities that offer graduate programs or undergraduate degrees? So out of the 5,000 institutions in the United States, around 3,000 of them are institutions that offer bachelor's and above, bachelor's, master's, and graduate programs. And around 2,000 of them are offering two-year associate's degree. So the topic today, what is the right choice for a student, whether it's a college or university, is really, really pertinent, especially for students who are looking at institutions abroad, because it's a significant investment in higher education in a foreign country, and it quickly runs into a couple of $1,000s per semester. So it's very important to look at what is the right fit for you as a student, what is the right fit for you in terms of your career plans that you have, and also the skills that you bring from your high school background or other industry experiences you have. So looking at the US institutions, I would categorize them just like how we have in India and in the school system. We have the elementary school, we have the middle school, we have the high school, and then we have the higher secondary. So I look at US institutions a similar way, post-high school, post-higher secondary. You have institutions that offer associate degree, which are primarily two-year degree programs. And then layered on top of it is a bachelor's degree, which takes 2 more years. So somebody can finish a bachelor's degree in 4 years. So associate degree is at, if you kind of layer it, associate degree as a base, and then a bachelor degree would be the next level, and then a master's degree, and then a doctorate degree program. So when somebody is looking at, a family is looking at an educational institution in the US, you have to ask the question, do I want to send my kid for a 2-year program so that they can finish that and look for employment opportunities or industry training that they would like? And in the United States, there is opportunity for somebody to do 1 year of practical training after they finish the degree of 2 years associates. And then when, if somebody is interested primarily in an undergraduate degree, they can choose to either go to a college or a university. A college would offer a 4-year degree program with very limited options for graduate programs. So if one chooses to go to a university, you can still pursue a 4-year degree program with a wide variety of program options they have, from arts, sciences to technology, engineering, to business, and so on. And then once one finishes a master's degree, they can go for a graduate program. So when you're starting after high school looking at these universities, would you go for an associate degree or would you go for a bachelor's degree? That would be the starting question. If you're looking for associate, it's 2 years, and you can choose community colleges, which are primarily designed for local students in that particular region. But they're also started to attract international students. They are very inexpensive compared to universities and colleges. And community colleges are attractive because you get the vocational skill sets you need, or even preparatory courses to get a bachelor's degree. The first 2 years of a bachelor's degree you can get. So community colleges are very, very attractive for cost-conscious customers. And so they can look at 2 years an associate degree in a community college, and then one can transfer to a college that offers 4-year degrees or a university that offers 4-year degrees. So that has become very attractive because education has become very expensive, especially in the United States. So a lot of local American students choose to go to community college for first 2 years and then transfer to a bachelor's degree university. But let's say if somebody has decided that they want to go for a bachelor's degree, they have option of going to a college or a university. So how would you decide which is the best fit for you? That is a very, very personal choice one has to make, because there are several factors that one has to consider. One, you have to consider your own personality. Are you an extrovert or an introvert? Why is that important? Because a university typically is a very large institution with 30 to 40,000 students, and some are 15,000 students. So it would be a very large institution. So the campus life opportunities would be tremendous in a university setting compared to typically a college of just 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 students. There would be a lot of institutional hierarchy and bureaucracy in larger institutions. And in smaller institutions, there would be a lot of flexibility. So if a student is coming here new to this country and want to navigate those, smaller colleges would be very attractive because you can directly speak to anybody and everybody within that particular small campus to get your problems resolved. But in a larger institution, there is a significant bureaucracy. So that would be a little bit more challenging to navigate if you have unique situations. And then smaller institutions like colleges offer a lot of attention from faculty, staff to students because the numbers are small. Typically, it'll be 1 to 13, one faculty for 13 students. And it's also easily, you can be recognized by your peers and by your faculty members because the class sizes are small. But if you look at larger institutions, there would be tremendous opportunities to do research, tremendous opportunity to do interdisciplinary research. Like what Harry mentioned, you would have opportunities to do innovative entrepreneurship kind of programs in a larger institution compared to smaller colleges. And then career preparation opportunity would be tremendous in a bigger university. And cost also would be something that you have to factor in. So I kind of summarized quite a bit of difference between colleges and universities when it comes to 4-year degree program. And then separately, you have to consider the category of associate granting community colleges that offer 2-year degree program. So you have a variety of opportunities when you consider US institutions, especially when you're planning to look at higher education. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Johnny.
Thank you, Dr. Prakasam, for explaining this in such great detail. Actually, I couldn't have asked for any better explanation than this. However, I must say I'm having a big problem. You know, most of the speakers, I mean, I prepared two questions for each speaker. Most of the speakers so far have already addressed one of the questions.
Uh-huh.
So, so that's a good problem to have. Anyway, so thank you for that. And so that brings us to the next speaker, Prashant Srivastava. Nagasrat, okay, so here is the introduction. And before we introduce him formally, I must thank him for his fantastic support actually in terms of guiding us through this forum, helping us to bring the speakers for the forum, and also participating very actively himself. So without him, this forum would not have happened. So thank you for this, Prashantji. And Suchit, if you can introduce Prashant.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Great pleasure to introduce my friend and colleague on the forum and the committee, Prashant Srivastava, who's the director for South Asia at Seneca International. Uh, he oversees international student recruitment, business development, and strategic partnerships in South Asia. Prashant has worked extensively promoting Canadian education overseas, skills development, and entrepreneurship exchanges between Seneca and reputed educational institutes around the world. He has delivered presentations in several international conferences on Indian and Canadian education systems. He works closely with Indian and Canadian governments in organizing international training programs of Indian civil servants in Canada. Prashant has over 15 years of experience in the arena of international education, having worked for various institutions in Canada and the US. He has a bachelor in electronics engineering from Shivaji University, India, and an MBA from University of Hertfordshire in UK. A post-degree diploma in business studies from Vancouver Island University, certificate in immigration law, policy and procedures from the University of British Columbia. So extremely distinguished and a colleague, a friend, and an energizer of this forum. So Prashant, please take over. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Suchit. And thank you, Vipulji, and greetings, everyone. Good morning and good evening, both in Canada and India. So it is my privilege to share my views on the college system, in particular in this forum of distinguished speakers from all reputed universities. So I have prepared a short presentation. So I will share my screen and go over with my slides. So first, when we talk about the education system in Canada, I would also like to reflect about Canada, the facts and the demography of Canada, the education system, and then go into the details of difference between college and university in the Canadian context. Talk brief about experiential learning and the co-op opportunities, which we call work integrated learning, a brief about Ontario college system, and then opportunity, what Canadian education present to Indian students, which is study, work, and live in Canada. And also some information on how Canada and India linkages are happening through education and immigration, and also a short glimpse of Seneca, its programs and campuses as well. So these are some of the beautiful pictures of Canada, and we see that large number of Indian students are coming to Canada to attend, to study in our universities and colleges. I myself was a student in Canada in 2003. Definitely the natural beauty, the scenic beauty of Canada attracts everyone. So Canada is the largest country in the Western Hemisphere, but only 36 million people live here. 90% of Canadians, they live across the southern region of Canada, which is within 100 miles of Canada-USA border. Also, most Canadians lives in towns and cities, and only 20% in rural areas. These are some of the facts about Canada. It has the longest coastline of any country in the world at 243,977 kilometers. It has a very high literacy rate of 99%. 6 large cities in Canada are Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, and Ottawa, with 1 million, more than 1 million population. So this is about Canadian education system. Canadian education system is ranked among the best in the world and is largely publicly funded. Education in Canada is a provincial jurisdiction. So for the audience in India, it is important to know and understand that education is a provincial jurisdiction. There is no federal, there is no central Ministry of Education in Canada. It is a top priority of the province. Most Canadian adults have a post-secondary education than any other country in the developed world, and it is because of a robust college system in Canada. This is a slide describing the structure of Canadian education system, how we differentiate between the secondary schools, colleges and institutes, apprenticeship, and what programs are offered in different institutions. So as speakers have mentioned, in universities, college programs are offered 4-year bachelor degree, then master's, and also the doctorate programs. Colleges are offering certificate program, diploma program, and also graduate diploma programs in many provinces, as well as there's a pathway for students to go from university to college, and also from university to from college to university. And also there are trends we see that students, after completing even university programs, they come for certificate programs at colleges. And sometimes there are joint offerings as well, that there are joint programs in partnership between institutions. So for example, Seneca and York University have partnerships in nursing. So students would start the degree program at Seneca and then end at York University. So these kind of joint degree programs are also offered between colleges and universities. So what is the difference between college and university? So as we can see from the slide, that colleges are offering 2 years diploma, 3 years advanced diploma, 4-year degrees, and 1-year graduate programs. And universities are offering mostly 4-year degrees, 2 years masters, and also the PhD programs. One of the value of college education is the co-op education, which is, we call it as work integrated learning, that is embedded in the curriculum. So that adds a value to the college education, that students, when they are pursuing their diploma or advanced diploma program, they are able to work while they study. So they go in the industry, they work with different employers, gain valuable experience, and come back and complete their diploma programs. Once they complete their diploma, students have options either to continue degree program in colleges which have degree granting rights, or they can go to a partner university and do 4-year degree program, transfer their credits from college to a university. At the same time, 1-year graduate programs in colleges, which are very applied in nature, and they have affiliations with the industries in terms of the certifications they offer. They attract a lot of graduates from the universities also to do 1 year of graduate programs at colleges as well. Then another value add of college education is the work integrated learning, which is a co-op education, as well as the field experience, which allows students to go out and observe the learning in the industries as well. So this is a brief about college system in Canada. With most provinces in Canada have multi-college system. Some provinces have single college system with multiple campuses. There is also Colleges and Institutes of Canada, CICAN, which was formerly ACCC, which is a national association, and it supports the member institutions and provides a national forum for issues related to college education. In Ontario, in the province of Ontario, the Ministry of Colleges and Universities is responsible for oversight of public college system. Colleges have associations in Ontario, which we call as Colleges Ontario, and also college employer council, or the council is responsible for the appointment to external governors to the college board. So that is how the college system operates largely in Canada, and more specifically in the province of Ontario. So in Ontario college system, there are 24 colleges of applied arts and technology. They were established by the province of Ontario, with first college opening in 1966. There are 3 areas of programs which colleges would emphasize, and these are vocational standards, essential employability skills, and general education. So all the programs which are designed in colleges, they consider, they have these important components in it, as well as the programs are designed in consultation with industry stakeholders. So every programs which are, for example, offered in college like Seneca has a program advisory committee which consists of representative from the industry, and these industry stakeholders, they give the inputs while the programs are being designed and further approved in Seneca. This is a glimpse of some of the colleges: Centennial, Algonquin, Georgian, Niagara. These are the colleges located in Ontario, offering high quality education. Again, this is an opportunity which attracts a lot of students from India, the opportunity to work in Canada, and also further possibility of obtaining a permanent residency. Students, if they study for 2 years or more, they can get a postgraduate work permit for up to 3 years. And then there is a strong possibility of obtaining a permanent residency as well. The trends which we are seeing are from India. We see an increase immigration trends to Canada, and as the data also shows that from 2016 to 2019, there has been a 105% increase of Indians admitted at permanent residence in Canada. So how education and immigration is driving stronger linkages between India and Canada, this is also important for us to understand that we see between 1980 and 2016 how the trends are for Indians to coming to Canada. In terms of the education sector, India accounts over 1/3 of international students in Canada. It is the largest source country. And in fact, when we look further dive into the where Indian students are studying, we see that a large number of Indian students are in Canadian colleges. In fact, Indian students were nearly twice likely to attend a college compared to all other countries in a comparative study done by Apply Board in March 2021. Also, 25 of the top 30 schools for Indian students in Canada were colleges. So this is a brief about Seneca, that in Seneca we have over 12,000 international students from 170 countries, 30,000 full-time students annually, and 60,000 part-time registrants annually. And there are 200,000 alumni globally from Seneca. In terms of programs which are offered in Seneca, we offer degree programs, advanced diploma, certificate programs, graduate certificate programs, and these are like 300 programs leading to 500 different career options for students. And these, the diversity and also like the variety of the programs which are offered, that attracts a lot of Indian students at Seneca. And these are some of our featured program in different disciplines: art, animation, design, aviation, business, fashion, health sciences, media and communication, manufacturing, and mechatronics. So many different options are available for students to study in Seneca. These are some of the glimpses of our campuses. We do have incubation center for entrepreneurship, mechatronics lab at Seneca, and a lot of opportunities we provide our students to nurture entrepreneurship as well. So with this, I think I will leave here, and then in the end, we can have questions if there are any questions for me. Thank you. Thank you, Vipul Bhai. Over to you, please.
Thank you, Prashant, for a detailed presentation. Actually, that was a very good comparison of what colleges offer and against what the universities offer. And I am very happy and proud to say that Seneca has been our annual partner for Impact Media and Events Corporation and all the activities that we do. So thank you for that. Thank you for what you are doing, Seneca, as well as yourself personally. Okay, so let us go to the last speaker of the day, Nagaswaran, if you can, yeah. And if you can introduce Professor Bansal also.
Thank you, Vipul Bhai. And last but not the least, Professor Nilesh Bansal, is from India.
Nitesh Bansal, sorry.
Yes, sorry, Nitesh Bansal. Yeah, I have had the pleasure to introduce one speaker from Canada, one speaker from USA, and the third speaker from India. It is my pleasure to invite Professor Nitesh Bansal, Professor and Registrar, Rishihood University, Sonipat, Haryana, India. Nitesh is a qualified physiotherapist and a PhD. He has worked as Registrar of G.D. Goenka University, Gurgaon, and as additional registrar at the O.P. Jindal Global University. Currently, he is the founding registrar at Rishihood University, Sonipat, as well as a professor in its School of Healthcare. He has published more than 15 scientific papers in reputed journals and conference proceedings of physiotherapy and in India and abroad. Nitesh has a vast experience in physiotherapy education because of his association with universities in India and as a member of Board of Studies, examiner and paper setter, inspector with the Delhi Council of Physiotherapy and Occupational Therapy. He's a member of Physiotherapy Central Curriculum Task Force constituted by the Health and Family Welfare Ministry of Government of India, and he's also the scientific reviewer of abstracts at the World Confederation of Physiotherapists. It is a pleasure again to invite Dr. Nitesh Bansal to this forum. Thank you so much. Professor Nitesh?
Thank you, Nan. Thank you for such a generous introduction. First of all, let me thank my old good friend Prashant for providing this opportunity and introducing me to Vipul Bhai and this wonderful organization called IMEC, etc. Thanks for bringing us to in the company of such a distinguished speaker and being in a forum which represents the best of the education system of current and in the past as well. Vipul Bhai, I have a problem here. I must say and confess in front of you, being the last speaker is always a disadvantage. And especially when you have a distinguished panel like this, what we have today. There's hardly anything left for me to speak on. They have already, covered all the major and important points. But still, I will try, since I'm here, try to provide some perspective. But then I promise you, I will not create another problem for you by stealing your question, what you might already have for me. So I'll try to be very generic and try to see how I can put a perspective. Thanks to the Consul General Apoorva ji for putting forward India's point of view and extending the invitation to all the universities in Canada and United States, because we are actually progressing. You all must be aware that India was known for its education, maybe about couple of hundreds years ago, but as late as 80 or 90 years ago, we were known for our university system existence when there was no other university across the globe, whether it is Takshila, Nalanda, or anything else. But having been said that, there is always a desire to further improve, and I think we are in a stage where we have to continuously learn from our colleagues from Western world, be it Canada or United States, because we have colleagues from those top-notch universities right now in Thailand. Let me start introducing myself with my institution where I belong to and which I represent right now. It's a Rishihood University. It's a newly established university, so I can say I'm the youngest. And Consul General Apoorva, who wanted to take the credit of least, but I think I am the youngest and least informed and least experienced among the distinguished panel over here. We are a newest university established in 2020, but with a vision of 100 years. We are not in hurry at all. So we have established on a philosophy of Swami Vivekananda, who said once, the rulers of the nation were never kings or generals, they were rishi. And when you become a rishi, you become a blessing to the mankind. With that philosophy, we have started the university with a goal of achievement within 100 years. So we are not in hurry once again. What we want to do, we want to create our ecosystem, which is not in isolation about teaching or learning or research. Our ecosystem which connects all these three parts. That means disseminating knowledge among students the way of degree, and also co-creating knowledge by the way of research. Now, coming to the topic of today's discussion, as many things have already been covered, I think we want to focus on why you want to choose a college or a university. And I must confess here, there is no right answer to this question, as it depends on what are you expecting out of your institution, whether it is a college or Prashant very well said that there is no federal education system in Canada, unlike in India where we have education in a concurrent list. That means education is a subject for a central government and as well as a state government. So we see a lot of different aspects of delivery of education in India. The college education system is very much part or integral part, or rather I say most important part of Indian education system, especially in the higher education. We have over 40,000 colleges or standalone institution in India. Because the definition of college, as you know, compared to United States or Canada, when we compare to India, it's slightly different. The understanding of word college and university slightly differs when you talk about Indian perspective. For an Indian perspective, we have about 40,000 institutions or colleges, what we call, and about slightly above 1,000 universities, what we call a degree granting institution. So the difference between college and university, here the colleges are, which are a specific domain focused institution affiliated to a bigger organization called university. They're not supposed to invent or innovate or try something new. They have been given a prescribed instruction in terms of curriculum syllabus, in terms of examination scheme, in terms of length, duration, and everything, and they're supposed to deliver that. So basically, colleges in India becomes an extension of a university so that the larger population could attract. And the college system in United States and Canada, as I understand, is slightly different because it's more towards vocational or a skill training rather than getting into a qualification for a higher degree. And a lot of people choose college over university because of easy access, could be because of cost, and of course for the quality education at the best price. So, but university also has its own reason to attract students because they provide an ecosystem once again where they can expand beyond their domain also. They can interact with multiple faculties together. They can look into a multiple or a transdisciplinary aspect of education. So that's something, it's very important. And as I said in the beginning, there is no right answer. What we need to do now, and thanks to Vipulji and his organization, where we are holding this kind of a forum where we can openly interact and see how we can further improve our relation by the way of academics, because this is something remains common and always in demand. We have to learn from each other. And I think this, India should not be only seen as a market for source students to universities in Western world. We should also be looking at having an intense collaboration where we look for bilateral exchange, not only students coming from India. We also have certain things which we can offer thanks to our population, which, you know, nobody can even think about it. We can offer that kind of exposure to students. It could be short term or a long term, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on the requirement. So we need to really look back at what all we can do together, and it becomes a mutual benefit. I'll give you an example how we want to do that and how we foresee that. At Rishihood University, we have started up a beautiful concept called Researcher's Home. That researcher home is a residential facility within the university and is open for any professor from any country, any university or college. They can just write to us. They can come and spend as much as time they want to. There are no charges to it. The only thing what we ask them in return is they must share their experience of doing research in India with our students. That's the only thing we do. And I send this invitation to all my colleagues from United States and Canada who's watching this. Kindly let us know in case we can partner with that. We invite faculties, irrespective of domains, irrespective of universities, colleges, they can come and spend some time. India is actually looking towards, improving its all, rather I would say rebrand its whole education system thanks to new education policy. I'm sure all of you are aware about it. 2020, we got it a new policy after 34 years, which focuses more towards learning rather than teaching. So that's going to be a completely game changer for that. We're going to be a clusters. They're going to be a mentor for smaller institutions to be mentored by bigger institutions like university. We would be happy to collaborate. We would be happy to invite the Western universities to come and set up campuses in India, tie up with Indian university to provide the quality education, learn from each other through our best practices, and also to send our students to best of the universities to learn the latest technology. I think the whole world knows us for our technological skills. Indian brains are well known everywhere, and that's the training system, the foundation, what the Indian education system or a societal system which has been presented. So these are the few things, and we are also, moving towards the system where we provide more flexibility and more exchange between these two systems, which are right now being seen as silos, college system or a university system. Rather, they need to come together and provide this flexibility to students. Another step towards achieving this goal is establishment or proposal of academic bank of credit, where institution and colleges or universities will not have so much of say. Students will be free to go to a college to pick up a credit of choice where he feels professor is teaching the best. Collect those credit from different colleges and institutions, bring it to a university and ask them to award the degree based on his learning in different aspects. So I think India is also changing and moving towards more flexible system. The difference, what I see, and if I have to sum up, Vipulji, in this one sentence, in India, the difference between the colleges and university is the colleges are currently focusing on employability skills. And if I have to say, universities are focusing towards more life skills. And this pandemic has taught us that since change is the only constant thing in the life, the most advanced, most demanded skill in future will be skill to adopt to a change. So that's why university has to prepare its graduate, colleges has to prepare its college. So with this, I will come back to you and look forward to any question at the last, if there are any.
Thank you, Nitesh ji, for those wonderful remarks. Actually, as you rightly said, just being the host of the forum, I feel like a scholar myself. There's so much knowledge that we gain. My job is to just bring the best brains together, but it's such a fulfilling experience, not just for education forum, for health forum, for the Canada-India forums, a lot of those different things, a lot of prominent speakers, and there's so much knowledge to gain from it. So it's a fantastic experience. This now brings us to our Q&A session. Consul General had a call from Delhi. She is still on a call with Delhi. So I got a couple of messages from them, from the CG herself, that she will try to join if the call finishes in the next 10 minutes or so. So we hope she can come back. Brock also, I think, so Brock Dykeman, he came, he left, he came back. So I'm not sure if there's any technical issue or something. But if he is back, then we'll ask him a question as well. So we'll start with Harry Sharma. I have got two questions for each speaker, and since we are just about 10 minutes left, so if you can keep the answers a bit brief, I would appreciate that. So the first question, you have already almost answered the question, but I will ask it anyway. If you want to add to this question, feel free, and then I will ask you the next question, and then we'll move to the next speaker. Innovation is key to survive and thrive in today's economy, as everyone would agree. I believe it also applies to educational institutions as well, as much as it applies to businesses. How is Carleton University and Innovation Hub in particular reflect today's realities and tomorrow's possibilities?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think innovation is key. And I think one of the speakers actually said adoption is also one of the key characteristics of any successful entity. Carleton University, just like many other many other post-secondary institutions in Canada, are moving towards what Prashant was describing as work integrated learning opportunities. So we used to have internships, and then co-ops became more popular. But then now work integrated learning opportunities are actually a diverse set of initiatives that we run to allow students to gain hands-on experience in terms of applying what they've learned in the classroom to a given problem. So in essence, it allows them to take in the real life sort of feedback of the knowledge application that they are working on. So that's one way. Micro-credentialing is another way where we're recommending that students and non-students, they can come and take bite-sized kind of learning opportunities where they don't have to go through an entire academic program to pick up a skill. These things are in high demand these days, and industry is starting to pick up on micro-credentials. They're actually recognizing micro-credentials in many instances. So those are providing opportunities for greater industry academic collaboration as well. So those are a couple of examples of innovation. Vipul, I know we're short on time, so I'll spare you some more details on what the Innovation Hub is doing, but there's a lot happening and a lot around entrepreneurship and getting students to initiate their own solutions to address large global challenges. So that's kind of what we're doing on the innovation side at Carleton.
We save that for the next session where we talk about entrepreneurship, and then we call you again. So that would be great.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. So this is an ongoing session. Actually, it's not just a one-off. Actually, this is the second session. And as I said, after a 2-month summer break, July, August, we'll come back in September, and this will be an ongoing monthly education forum. So I keep bugging Harry also to share his direct number so we can reach out to him, to bring him back. Anyway, my second question for Harry is Brock, unfortunately, is having an unstable internet connection, I believe, but I hope you can stay with us. So we are coming to you next. So this is your second question for you, Harry. Innovation obviously requires a lot of R&D, right? So where do you see Canada and India in terms of investing and supporting R&D?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I would just add that innovation is much more about R&D. I think R&D is one source of innovation, but there are process innovations, there are human resource innovations. So innovations can come from many sources, but to your point, R&D definitely is a key source of innovation. And you know what? The governments in both countries have recognized it. There is a bilateral, I forget what the official term is, but there is a strategy that was put in place a few years ago, which recognizes the importance of research and development, joint research and development. And there are many areas of synergies, right? So smart cities is one. I'm a big proponent of building bridges around the smart cities project that the current government in India has launched, and Canada is and Canadian colleges and universities both are at the leading edge of not just developing new technologies but also deploying new technologies. You look at the Internet of Technology, IoT-based solutions that are emerging out of Canada. We're absolutely second to none. And I think there is an opportunity for both countries to benefit. Cybersecurity, I think we've recently seen attacks against core infrastructure in India and in Canada. There was just a report in the Globe and Mail the other day our energy companies are targets of more cyber attacks than any other industry in Canada. So both countries are facing pressures from state and non-state actors around cybersecurity. So that would be another key area for me. And then lastly, and more generally, I think infrastructure, right? So India is in the process of building hundreds and hundreds of thousands of kilometers of new roads and bridges and railway tracks, fiber optic lines. And I think there is a general area of very synergetic collaboration there. So those would be my top 3 areas for R&D, joint R&D, if you were to ask me.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for the same. Just as I was going to Brock, he has dropped out again. Okay. So let us now move on to Dr. Prakasam. Let me see. For students in India, when they decide to study abroad, actually, you have also addressed this question. So maybe I'll keep this brief and then we can move on to the next question for you. For students in India, when they decide to study abroad, the primary markets are Canada, USA, UK, and Australia. Why do you think they should come to USA and to Ferris University in particular over other options? You're on mute, sir.
Specifically to answer the question why students are interested in studying in the United States is for 2 reasons. The quality of education offered in any educational institution in the US is very high quality because of the required accreditation at program level and the university level. The standards are maintained really high. And so that's one very attractive, and the data proves and the data shows that students who are applying to the United States, they find that to be the attractive reason they are choosing the United States. And in terms of specifically about Ferris State University, the type of programs we offer are very unique that typically one would not find. For example, I'll give 3 different programs that we have. And initially I mentioned that we are very industry focused. To give a good example, our programs are very specialized and cater to industry needs. For example, one program we have in our College of Business is a business program for students who are interested in golf management. So students who play golf and who are good golf players, if they wanted to get into the industry, they can come and choose a business program at Ferris State University that offers them a bachelor's degree in golf management so that they can go and manage a golf course, learn the biology of the turf and how to manage the golf club and get an accredited program from PGA. And another example is we have a very strong welding program at Ferris State University. So anybody who wants to get into welding field, they can get a bachelor's degree in welding technology. We have a program in facilities management. So if you have a large infrastructure and you want to manage it, you can get a bachelor's degree at Ferris State University. And also I can go on and add, we have one of the top 20 cybersecurity programs in the country, both bachelor's and master's. We have a new artificial intelligence program and so on. So one of the things that was spoken earlier, that innovation is very critical. And that I see at Ferris State University. We innovate in terms of the type of programs we offer, the opportunity students can gain, the skills that they need to serve in the industry that they are interested in. And that makes Ferris an attractive place.
Okay, so the next question for you, Dr. Prakasam, is that the pandemic has turned a lot of things upside down. Traditional businesses going out of business, virtual workplaces, virtual education. A lot of students are also confused and scared for their future. So your advice to them?
I think we are still, and in some parts of the world, we have really overcome some of the challenges we faced in terms of the pandemic. In some parts of the world, it's still continuing. India is still facing the challenges of pandemic. What I see, at least in the near future, as we overcome the challenges with more vaccination, that the traditional form of education would continue, but infusing the innovation we have learned from offering virtual. So I see a lot more of blended opportunities where instead of traditionally being in the classroom for, let's say, 45 hours a semester, students would have the opportunity to take most of the traditional classes, but have the choice of really taking some parts of the classes online, making it much more easier and flexible for them to choose the courses that typically they would not get because of scheduling conflict, but also in terms of accessing more opportunities for learning. So I see it's going to be a wider opportunity, a diverse opportunity for learning, and that would gear towards the specific individual needs of students and the challenges they have in accessing education. So I see it as a positive over a longer period, and there would be a lot more collaboration. I'm looking at Nitesh here and saying, because of the pandemic, we may be able to collaborate much more electronically, bringing his students and our students together, so the Indian students and the American students can learn together. And that is possible because we're all trained, both faculty, staff, and students, to kind of thrive in this new electronic medium of learning. So I see it as a positive, but we are just still crossing the barriers that we are facing. And so I see it happening in the next 6 to 1 year, where we would take some of the opportunities forward to innovate.
Sure. Thank you for that insight, Dr. Prakasam. So now let me come back to Prof. Dykeman. So the first question for you is, as you know, Canadian colleges and universities now have a large Indian student population in most provinces, whether Saskatchewan or BC or Ontario or Quebec. What impact does it have on the overall functioning and vision for Canadian educational institutions?
Thank you. Yes, we do have a significant number of Indian students coming to Canada, and it does make the university, or at least they should be thinking about who the student in the classroom is and how to help them succeed. So for us, that's been one of the factors we've looked at. Our foundation program and our MBA looked at what Indian students tend to come in, what skills they come in with from their undergraduate degree, and tried to reshape that to help them make sure that it covers the skill development that they need to be successful in a master's degree. They bring a lot of skills and knowledge, a lot of engineering undergraduates coming from India, and so they have a lot of tech skills, and certainly the tech industry has really grown rapidly in Canada and Vancouver itself. I think we had 6 unicorns in the last year in the tech industry. So we're finding a lot of employment in the tech industry for those graduates with engineering backgrounds. And then so it's a matter of combining the right program and the right skills that they'll pick up in their Canadian program with their backgrounds to make them ready, for example, for the tech industry, where we're really focusing on getting our MBA graduates employed in.
Okay. So the second question for you is, India has recently, in the recent past, unveiled a very forward-looking, very progressive education policy. So how keenly Canadian colleges and universities are following India's education policy in terms of any potential collaborations or setting up campuses in India, things like that?
Yeah, I think certainly most Canadian universities have a significant number of faculty administrators who have Indian backgrounds as well, which helps. So we have quite a bit of knowledge about what's going on in India. At our particular university, for example, we're a private university. Our global university systems, our ownership group also owns the University of Petroleum and Energy Services in Dehradun, India. And like Piram said, we've taken advantage of the COVID and everybody's offering things online. So we've actually been offering classes from Canadian faculty members from UCW to students at UPES in India. So they've been able to take classes from Canadian faculty members as part of their UPS degree program. So that's just one example of a cooperation that's developed in this COVID era that gives those students a kind of a bit of a international experience without leaving home, right? And I think definitely universities are interested. I know some of the top universities are interested in setting up campuses in India under the new legislation that's pending. So I think definitely Canadian universities are ready to work with Indian universities, and also like the project that Harry talked about with innovation hubs. We're also have a Canada-India Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship that we've just set up at our innovation hub, and are hoping to work with other Indian universities and innovation hubs in India on that project. So I think there's lots of joint projects happening.
Wonderful. We're very happy to know about that, and let us keep connected, actually, as I mentioned at the beginning, through this forum, so we can share this kind of developments. I'm coming to Prashant right now next, Prashant Srivastava. The first question is a fairly long one. Seneca College has been very aggressive and very forward-looking in terms of adding new courses and international student recruitments. The last 18 months have been very tough on everyone. How has it impacted Seneca in terms of offering new courses and attracting new students, especially from India? Do you see the situation now improving, or will it still take a few more years at least before we can see things becoming normal again in terms of in-campus, in-classroom learning, students now again willing, and available to travel, to join, all those things? So there's a lot of uncertainties, a lot of confusion still out there.
Sure. Thank you, Vipul bhai. So with this situation with pandemic, when it started last year in March, we did started seeing the gradual deferral of students, like the reception of, we did change our learning to online education as soon as the pandemic hit and we were asked to close the campuses. At that time, we saw that Indian students were differing to the next intake. They were not withdrawing from their education, but they were differing to the next subsequent intake. But later on, we saw that students started adapting to this new reality, because with Indian institutions also in India offering online courses and students adapting to that, they adjusted to our offerings as well. And also with the support from Canadian government, with the flexibility of postgraduate work permit while students are studying online, that gave us a good momentum. And we started students coming back to us and saying that they will like to resume their studies, and subsequently they started enrolling. And from us, we adapted in the delivery mode. For example, many of the online lectures, they were being recorded, and students, when they, at their own convenience, they were able to play those recordings and go over with the sessions. Also, the faculty members, they became more approachable. I would say that we saw that they started connecting students even on the phone call as well. So I think it's like collective for all the stakeholders, be it be students, faculty, institution, all coming together in this time. And we are seeing now the enrollment going up actually. And at this time, this also has shown us new opportunity. Of course, the challenges are still with mobility of students, and the travel bans are still being imposed until July 21st for the direct flights from India. But there is also an opportunity where students have shown interest in continuing their complete education in India or in any of the country, because they feel like they are with their family, they are in the country, and they will be able to complete their education in India as well. So again, these are both pros and cons. Definitely, like in long term, the students will be coming to Canada, and we are also adapting to the new reality that some students would like to pursue education in hybrid mode. So we call it as flexible learning opportunity for students where they can, if they want to come to campus, they will be able to come in person for the education. At the same time, the lectures would be broadcasted. So which means if they are in their own country, they can still attend and complete those courses. So our fall delivery schedule is available for students. And in that, we have given 4 different options depending on the program. If it is an online, if it can be done completely online, or if it is in person, or if it is hybrid, or if it is in the flexible learning mode. So all the options are available to students to choose. They will be starting to make their choices from the first week of August, and then subsequent delivery will happen in September. That's what the plans are at this time.
Sure. So throughout this session today, we have heard several reasons, why someone should pick a college or a university. However, the last 18 months, I mean, the financial hardships that most people have faced over the last 18 months. Do you think finance, personal finance, will become one of the major reasons, if not the reason, for students to pick a college or over a university? Generally, universities are considered to be a bit more expensive. College is a bit more affordable. Will that now be a deciding factor, at least over the next year?
Means it's a very good question. And again, like, as all students are not same, and we see from Indian students, they look into their budgeting, their financials very closely. So they do look into the cost effectiveness of different institutions offering program. And you are right, many times college becomes a viable option and it becomes an affordable education. And this reflects in the numbers also, that we see that more Indian students are enrolled in colleges in Canada than universities. Is one of the reason is affordability. So definitely, I think this will continue, but we see that the GDP projections forecast for India is looking into double digits actually. So in next year, so who knows? Means I think affordability will increase of Indian parents, and India will remain one of the prime source country for international students, both for Canada and the US. Thank you.
Sure, thank you for that. So Nitesh Consul, I'm coming to you now. We are a bit over time, but that's okay. There's a lot of useful information that we are sharing here. So the first question for you is, Haryana sends a lot of students to Canada. There are a lot of people from Punjab and Haryana in Canada. With the new education policy in India now, do you see the trend reversing, meaning more international educational institutions setting up shop in India, and the Indian students now studying in India instead of going abroad?
See, Vipulji, I'll be very honest with you. I don't see that happening immediately. Because, education is not only about getting a degree or a certificate, it's about experience. Experience the campus life, experiencing the cultural life, experience the academic atmosphere, experience the co-curricular and extracurricular activities also. So there might be a decline in numbers, but that could be both ways. It could be because of blended learning. There are some advantages also. The regulatory agency in India, UGC and AICT, who was completely against in teaching through distance mode, teaching through online mode. Fortunately, because of this pandemic, they are the one who are advocating that 40% curriculum can be offered online. So like everything, there are disadvantages and advantages. So this pandemic has given us the opportunity to open our mind and accept the blended learning mode. As Coursera's founder said it once, that the distance learning starts from the third row of a classroom. So I think that's very well accepted now. The Indian educators who were actually totally against blended learning, they are the one who are accepting it. But now coming back to your main question, I see this more as an opportunity, because when we have best of the players coming to India, setting up campus, they will have to depend on Indian knowledge resource also, which means there will be a very close partnership Right now, what's happening, the Indian professionals, with all due respect, they go to United States or Canada and adopt to their system in terms of quality. But there are certain strengths which Indian education system also has. So when the foreign campuses will come to India, I see a lot of a great mix rather of best of the both worlds coming and being presented to the student. So there might be some decline, but not significant, because the students who go abroad, they go basically for two reasons. One is the quality of the education. Second is the affordability, because it depends which country and which college or a university they choose. So the major factor of, apart from getting a quality education, is also getting a great experience of teaching learning. So I beg to differ on you on that. I don't see that happening, at least immediately.
Sure. So, as we heard during the course of the forum today, the way the colleges and universities are set up in Canada and USA is very different than how we see colleges and universities in India. So, today's topic, I mean, college or university, what is right for you? How relevant that question is in India, actually, of today?
As I mentioned while I was making my deliberation, the concept of college is a bit different as compared to Canada and US when we compare it with India. We do have this system. We do have colleges, and colleges are actually 40,000 in India who are standalone institutions. We also have another system where we have pre-university colleges in some state like Haryana, Maharashtra, Karnataka, where students after 10th standards for their high secondary school, for a high school, what we call, they go to pre-university colleges. So that's also a system which we already have existence in India. So I don't see it making any effect in Indian students studying in India per se. But yes, when they have to make a choice to enroll themselves in Canada, United States, or Australia, where we have this system, where we have this college system. I'm not sure about the Australia, but yes, Canada, and my own brother did that thing. He got it, enrolled himself in the university, spent middle 2 years with the community college in order to, substantiate the cost factor, and then come back to the final year to a university. They are a struggle. They have to take more courses, of course. But yes, financially it reduces some burden. So I don't think for Indian context, it has major difference. People, anyways, the data of Indian government shows that we need to have 1,500 universities against 1,000 what we have, looking at the population, what we're going. But I also want to submit here before all of you here, it may not be a right thing to compare the Indian system with what we have in United States and Canada, merely because the population what we have, it's humongous, it's huge. The demand of the population to cater to this population, the approach, the method, it has to be completely different. So I think we will have to adopt both the ways, the college system and the university system. It has to coexist, and we need to go at least for next 20 to 25 years before we make those clusters and make this thing in a separate the way we have it developed. So that's what I feel.
Sure. So, Nagasarath and Suchit, if you want to say anything quickly before we go to the closing remarks. You want to add anything? You want to say anything?
I think this was very enlightening from the perspective of not just catering to students and prospective students who might be looking at 3 different geographies to choose from, and 2 different education institutions, but also from the perspective of what are the opportunities that lie ahead, and what are the changes that the pandemic has induced, where all 3 countries are trying to take advantage of. And so the perspectives that I heard from the speakers from different coming at it from different backgrounds, I see a lot of hope, and I see a lot of positives that can be taken advantage of. And hopefully through this forum in the future, we could have a sort of more collaborative types of topics where we explore opportunities through cross collaborations among the 3 different geographies and 2 or 3 different types of institutions on what the future might look like. So and that might actually be useful for policymakers actually across India, Canada, and the US. So just bringing people together and brainstorming, I think that would be a fantastic future session to have with the same panelists and more. So I thank you everyone for your comments and participation.
Sure. Nagasarath?
Thank you, Vipulbhai. And this is kind of a masterclass for me. Just in 1.5 hours, I get to understand various perspectives and where different countries are coming from. Being from India, I can understand Professor Nitesh, how it is difficult to cater to that huge population, and understand from Dr. Piram Prakasam that there are programs that are being offered for someone who want to create a career in goals. So that's a completely different geography altogether in terms of education. And Professor Harry and Brock have brought forward how innovation helps both the countries of Canada and US as well. Considering that large population of talent is available in India, and how can we bring them here and create a great environment for both entrepreneurship and also innovation. Particularly, Harry mentioned about the smart cities, how it will help India to build the future of smart cities. And the hundreds of smart cities are coming across, and how Google is playing a great role in terms of bringing Wi-Fi to these railway stations and across India. So yeah, thank you. And thank you, Vipulbhai, for the opportunity again. It has been a great masterclass for me in person.
Sure. So we'll now go towards the closing remarks, 30 seconds for each speaker. And then before that, if you can quickly show the sponsors page one more time to recognize the support that we received. This education forum is supported by Schoolio, One Place, Impact Media and Events Corporation, Consulate General of India in Toronto, of course, Seneca College as well, and ICICI Bank Canada. So with that, let us now move to the final segment, the closing remarks, 30 seconds max. And I will start with Mr. Dykeman.
Thank you, Vipul, and thank you for this session. I think it gives the audience a good idea of the landscape of North American colleges and universities and some of the differences and some of the opportunities, plus starts to lead us towards some opportunities for cooperation in the future. Thank you.
Sure. Harry?
Yeah, no, I echo Brock. Thank you, Vipul, so much for all the hard work that you and your team have put in to make this forum happen. I think the foundation of the education partnership between Canada and India is well established. And I think there are many more opportunities to strengthen and build on top of what we've already accomplished. So I look forward to continuing the conversation. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Prashant?
So thank you, and it has been a great interaction with all, and also hearing the perspectives both from India, US, Canada. I think in terms of cooperation going forward could be the ways of reviving the polytechnic system of India, where the practical education could create a pathway to universities, especially with ITIs, and creating a linkages actually with ITIs to IIT, because those ITIs are offering very practical education, and then IIT becomes the top level and it brings to that high level of research. I think that gap has to be bridged by some kind of pathway. So once again, thank you so much for Vipulbhai for organizing this and bringing all of us together. Thank you.
Sure. Actually, we are already working on that as well. In the next sessions going forward, we'll be bringing together the IITs, the IIMs, Schulichs, and those kind of institutions as well, for a complete, interaction, three-way now, Canada, India, US. So I would urge all the educational leaders today, participating today, to keep in touch, to join us, to support this education forum, as it will benefit students in all three countries. So Dr. Prakasam, your closing remarks, please.
Thank you for the opportunity to interact with all of you and learn from you about the Canadian system. And as the title itself mentioned for the session, is college or university a right fit for you, or right for you? And I think that's really at the heart of the whole thing. When students are looking at institutions, the best fit is the most important thing. Not the ranking, not where the location is the institution, what they're offering, does that fit with what your plans are? And hopefully this session helped students to think about what options they have and make a choice. So thank you for the opportunity to share and learn.
Thank you for that, Professor Bansal.
Thank you, Vipul. I would like to use this closing remarks to begin a new journey between us. I think we should start now, rather than closing it now. I invite each one of you for our project called Researchers Home. Please feel free to extend this invitation to all your colleagues within your university or outside university. This is completely free of cost. There are no commercial attached, no MOU required. The only criteria is you need to be a researcher, you need to be an innovator, you need to be an entrepreneur, you need to be thinking about design in an educational perspective. And only thing what we ask in return is speak to our students, share your experience. So that's it from my side. And I look forward for this kind of a platform in future as well, where we can come along and talk about the issues which are of relevance to our future generation. Thank you once again, Vipul Bhai, for organizing this.
Sure. Thank you, everyone, all the speakers for today, for taking time. We have gone about half an hour over time. It usually doesn't happen. Prashant and everybody else knows. We finish on time, we start on time. But today's interaction was really good. It's a lot of knowledge. So we thought let us extend half an hour. So it was all worth it at the end. And thank you again, once again. And we'll keep in touch. I'll get back to you again. And feel free to join us in September, October, November, whenever you can, whenever the topic is of your interest. And we'll be happy to take your message across. So with that, the session today is formally closed. Thank you very much.